Sounds straight. Welcome to South End Supporters, a St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Radio Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Studios. Erik Cole alongside the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff as we are here to preview in our STL Kalachi preview City's upcoming game this Saturday as they will be taking on FC Dallas. And hopefully they will keep riding this high that we've been on since, 5 minutes ago from the last episode, and we'll just keep it going. But before we get into it, how we doing this evening, Dave?
We are ready to record the People's episode because that's what this one is. The quick preview, a little gambling degen action, and then getting into those South End submissions brought to you by Felix's Pizza Pub, where we will be on Saturday getting down with those double trashed wings, with those delicious slices, the biggest slices anywhere you'll find. I cannot wait. The People's episode.
That's right. And hopefully for everybody's sake, you don't show up in that hat because I think people will walk right out the door.
You know what? I just might now. I just might, just for you. Yeah, I just might. Because I have earned that right as a fan. You know what I've been through as a Chelsea fan?
No, I don't want to hear
the heartache.
I don't want to hear nothing. You came in during
the heartache.
You came in during the good years for Chelsea.
Let me tell you about
the past.
Let me tell you about the Gus Hiddink era. Let me tell you about the Mauricio Sarri era. Let me tell you about the Graham Potter era. You know why we're not going to talk about it? Because they didn't do anything in that era. So don't talk to me about struggle.
Oh, we've had so many great.
Has your team ever finished 10th in the table?
Yeah, we finished 15th. No.
That's
17th.
That's right. It was 17th. I wanted to see you say that.
And you're naming off managers like we've had anybody since Sir Alex left.
You had Poch.
We didn't have Poch. You had Poch.
You had Mourinho. He's the chosen one, the special one.
You know what's sad is like
him.
There's many days where I look back and I'm like, man, I'd take Mourinho again. I just like he at least he won us Europa and he got us to second.
Yeah, Ten Hag won the FA Cup.
Yeah. That's what's sad is like we've still technically won stuff. Like that's what's sucks. And everybody got all cocky. What's driving me nuts is everybody got all cocky when like players were saying they wanted to come to our club this year. And everybody's like, United's still the biggest club in England. We've got all this pull. And we haven't signed any of those people. They've all been like, yeah, and then we've got to hit on because we have to offload.
Who did they sign?
Well, we signed Cunha, but we have to offload 4 players that are making bank, and so like no club's going to want to pay their fee, and so they're going to just sit back and be like, well, why should I leave there? Or what I found, or I guess I'll report today on Sancho, where if he leaves for Juve, he wants like a $5 million payout because the way he's looking at it is if I'm going to take a pay cut, you should pay me then what I'm not making on my new contract. And it's just like, so I don't want to hear nothing out of you of the hard times.
Chelsea gave him $5 million to take Sancho back.
I know we should just use that $5 million to pay.
They could use that $5 million.
Boy, talk about a hit to your ego if you're a player. Like a club pays you to you're a home club to
and
he
wasn't that bad at Chelsea. Like he was getting some significant minutes.
But I think he
scored a couple of meaningful goals.
I think it's all the stuff off the field that people I hear he has a terrible work ethic. Right. I think he's demanding. I think he still thinks he's Dortmund Sancho, and he's not, and he's wanting those crazy money. Yeah. But
you know who doesn't have a terrible work ethic? This City team.
Not anymore.
And they're taking that work. And they're taking that excuse me. God, I almost really went smooth transition to that, but I just tripped over my own tongue, and that's a mistake. Mm-hmm. City are taking that work. I did it again. Help, Erik, help.
Well, I'll bail you out real quick while you think about it because an interesting thing just came across as I got an alert. I don't know if you got this as well, but City just put up the soon thing. Now I'm going to associate that with the Minnesota signings that we were kind of talking about a little bit last episode. I'm assuming that's what that's going to be, which again, as you said, it's going to be more supplemental, nothing that's really going to drastically move the needle, but expect for an announcement coming, yesterday.
But until we have that announcement, City will be taking their work ethic to Dallas to take on FC Dallas.
Nailed it.
On Saturday night.
First try.
And that first try, yeah. FC Dallas. In the short history between these two teams, each team has won 2 and lost 2 and drawn 1. So a very even split over these 3 seasons so far. Dallas sit 13th in the table as of right now. City sit 14th in the table, 3 points behind, right on their heels, and just ahead of the Galaxy in the race for the wooden spoon. So what do we expect out of this week? Well, in terms of healthy bodies, City still lead the world. Morales is still out. Morales, and this is I've got this timeline from Jay Clem, and stick with me here because these are not like official, like this is what the team said about these, but this is as last informed and reported by Jay Clem. Out of the players that were all injured, the only one with a timeline has been Timo Baumgartel. He is supposed to be back next game. Obviously, we won't know about any of that until we see what's training. Durkin is being called week to week. He trained part of last week, but not sure when he will play. Kessler, to Jay Clem's knowledge, is not back training yet. No timeline for Nielsen. Morales with a broken collarbone, so he's still out for a while. Alm is done for the season. Celio was diagnosed preliminarily with a dislocated shoulder. We've also seen chipped collarbone. Either one of those injuries have him out for at least this week, if not the minimum of 2, more likely 4 weeks. So City have huge injury issues. Dallas are missing a couple players. They're missing Julio. They are missing, they're missing Nolan Norris, 32-year-old defender, and they are missing Paxton Pomykal, a 25-year-old American. None of these guys really have had any major impact on the score sheet, short of Julio, who's got 4 goals and an assist in 15 matches. So the last time out, City took, let's see, this would be the first time that they've played this year.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Last time they faced Dallas was last year in the Leagues Cup, and they beat them 2-1, but haven't faced them in MLS play so far this year. Some quick little numbers, little stats. Dallas have scored 9 goals in their last 5. They have not kept a clean sheet, however, in 5 matches. City have also scored 9 goals in their last 5, but they haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 matches, despite Roman Burki being ranked 3rd in saves per match in the MLS this season. So we saw the return of Edu Leuven this week. He played when did he come in?
He had about 35 minutes
in halftime. So he had about 35 minutes. So maybe don't expect him to come back in and start, and maybe see a similar approach against Dallas where they kind of ease him in and maybe bring him in the second half. Not sure, but he is expected to be in the team, and that, of course, changes things. The one player you're likely to be down, obviously, is Celio. We'll have to see what training is like and who slots into that spot. I would love to see it be somebody like Mackay Jr., but we spoke about in Tuesday's show that for Mackay, the way we understand it now, for Mackay to be elevated to the first team, he would have to be a permanent signing for the season. I don't know how that would fit in all the roster slots, although from what we know, there is a U22 slot open, I believe, but we're not too sure where he would fit in. And he kind of doesn't seem to be in City's plans for a full-time role this year. They kind of seem to be working him along. So what I guess when it comes to City, we know what we're going to get at this point, right? We know we're going to get early press. We're going to get high up the pitch, throwing a lot of players at the offense. What sort of game should we expect? Because Dallas, they give up a lot of goals. Not a great offense, right? A little more than a goal a game. Kind of same thing around City. So do we expect a game more like Portland? What can we expect out of this game?
Well, the biggest thing is going to be kind of where you say the unknown as well is Dallas has got a midweek game, and they're going to be facing off against San Jose in San Jose. So that's a 9:30 start. So even a late game for them as well. So, obviously that can play into the favor. A couple things that worry me is 2 players that have really done damage against City in the past was Pies, their goalie. He just has been, it seems like he plays Berkey level every time we play him. There's been games where we really could have beat Dallas by a lot or just been in better games had it not been for the performance he put out. I don't know if he's having as stellar of a year this year. I know in just the few highlights I've watched the past games, he's still making great saves, but we got to make sure that if we are in front of goal, we're clinical and we're not just hoping for, lucky bounces or anything like that, because he's been very well. And then Acosta. I mean, the guy, he was former MVP. He's just going to be the interesting thing that I've been noticing is he's been having to almost like City-esque find himself more out on the wing and supplement rather than down the center of the field. But when he has been down in the center of the field, that's where they've been their most dangerous. It's almost a shame we won't have a reuniting at home with Musa up top, because as you were there for that Leagues Cup game, you let us know that he was a big fan of a lot of the fans behind the goal during that game. But he just still hasn't really seemed to hit the form that I think they were hoping. He's getting a couple goals here these past couple games, so hopefully that's not a sign of him catching on like Klaus has for us lately. I think it's going to be their defense. They're very similar. Their defense is just very. What I've noticed with them as well is when they do attack, the gap between their midfield and their defense really grows. So hopefully if we can almost keep our composure on the ball in our defensive half like we did against Portland, and then if we have Leuven back in the field where we can almost spring a good counterattack, now it's going to be interesting, like you said, to see who fills that role. I got a question for you. If it was, just to choose one player right now to fill that, they could give that full year contract to, or that first team signing to, would you give it to Orozco or would you give it to Joyner with where City are rolling right now?
Oh, that's a good. I didn't think about that. That's a really good.
As much as I'll give you my answer. As much as I am very, very excited, and I think he could be a real, star for the team in the future with Makai Joyner. I think City's needs right now are a little bit more with Orozco, because our defense has just been, and he's been a real shining light on that. I just feel it's tough now because with Celio going down, it would have been, that really to me opened up the bigger discussion of this, because if Celio's still healthy and playing, I think it's a lot more easy for me to just come out and say Orozco. With Celio going down now, like you said, who fills in that role? You're probably going to have to shift somebody out of position again. I would almost assume maybe Hartle goes back out left, and then maybe you move Teutschert back to the center and Betch goes out right. I mean, if I'm thinking of who's our best players at the moment, I know Betch and Teutschert have been a little bit off of form right now, but, trying to think of it doesn't seem like Xande Silva is really, fitting in with the team at the moment. Who knows what they have, coming our way with this, signing. I think we have assumptions, but who's to fully say? But yeah, it's a tough one for me if I'm thinking of if there's one spot left, who do you give that to kind of build off for the rest of this year? And I'm torn a little bit, but I think I might lean Orozco at this point.
Yeah, I think I think Orozco is the answer. I think that's kind of like you kind of didn't think about what the needs really were right now, and that's kind of the play.
I think if you would have asked us a couple weeks ago, it would have been a completely different answer. Because I think everybody was very excited and hopeful for Makai to keep getting more minutes and become a permanent part of this team, which, again, I think will, for sure happen. But I think they're looking more to keep building him as well. But I think it's going to be interesting to see the minutes Leuven gets. My worry is Ostrak has been very inconsistent. While he had a phenomenal game last week, I hope he can keep building off that and keep, it just also seems like every time he gets in a flow and gets things going, he picks something up, and then, then we're supplementing again as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really going to come down to how well Valum and Ostrak can play. One of those two is going to have to try and restrain themselves and stay a little bit back with Acosta's danger. You can't allow him free open space throughout the center of the pitch. We've seen what he has done with us in the past with Cincinnati, and he can still have that capability. So I think it's going to be a tough game anytime going on the road. Do you have the odds as far as what they're looking? Because they had City favored against Portland last week. What's it looking like this
I think
week?
a lot of that had to do with the home field advantage. So right. in the three-way bet, it's FC Dallas plus 120, plus 250 for a draw, plus 200 for City. Tie no bet, Dallas favored minus 148, City plus 126. So not an insane favorite, but still a favorite. And a couple of numbers that I wanted to throw out. in terms of what to expect from Dallas. So Dallas does not like to possess the ball. They're either not like to possess it or don't have the capacity to possess. 28th in the league in possession, 43.7%, whereas City sit.
They probably jumped up a little bit here under the Critch era.
City actually sit 28th. But yeah, that team is rise. That number is rising. 57% against Portland in the first half of that game, and Portland are 12th in the league. So against a team that likes to possess the ball more, City actually outpossessed them in an entire half. In where they weren't, it's not like City were losing 2-0 where Portland was just packing it in. So that's one number. We talked about clean sheets. They've only got 3 on the season. Goals conceded per match, they're 26th in the league at 1.9. And then on the offense, 28.8 XGs for the year. That's middle third, but more towards bottom third of the league. Shots on target per match, bottom third of the league. Big chances missed, they're middle of the pack. That's also has to do with how many chances they actually create. Accurate passes per match, bottom 4 in the league. So, this game is there to be won. This is not like this is some great team. And, especially after beating Portland, I would figure that City would really be feeling confident right now, especially against a team that's in a pretty poor run. Dallas have lost their last 4.
Yeah.
So, and that's coming against some pretty stiff competition. It was LAFC, Minnesota, Austin, and San Jose.
Yeah.
And then you're going to play San Jose again on Wednesday. So they're looking at the tail end of a 5-game losing skid if they can't pull one out Wednesday. So what are the predictions? City have not been as good a team on the road, obviously, as they have been at home. But the midweek game plays a big factor here. And also, I guess, who you end up seeing is healthy and who's in the starting lineup. Even if Leuven is just a contributing factor and has only played a half, and if you get a half out of Timo or any sort of contribution from Timo, that would be big because that would pull Yarrow out and give you a better distributor. I'm going to go with 2-1 City. And I'm going to look to see Klaus get back on the score sheet that he did not get on against Portland.
I like it. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they almost look at the San Jose game as more of a priority, being a tougher opponent, and maybe they can figure coming back home and just hopefully against, they assume, a more struggling City team, that's where they maybe go for their rotation. I know they rotated out Acosta 2 games ago, and he's been back in, and so I imagine he would be able to easily do a bounce for the double. But maybe we get that rotation in there for that game at home, and hopefully we can – or who knows, maybe they rotate for San Jose and they look to prioritize where they think they could be a better game at home. I'm really just going to keep this optimism going like I did last week, where – I'm hoping like we do, like what Critch said, and we get that 1% better. I hope we have another stellar training session. I hope we come out of that training session with no injuries. I hope we just really almost prioritize that as far as just building off of things going into to me, the 1% could almost just be keep going without picking something stupid up in training and just keep building our roster really going in there. I don't necessarily feel like Dallas has ever been an imposing stadium to play. A lot of times I felt like we played them, it's been pretty empty. Of course, we, what was that, 3 years ago, there was that major delay, and then we had to play a half or whatever back in Dallas. That was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. But I just have a good feeling. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm hoping, like you said, we can almost maybe get Baumgartel back. I really liked JGR and his physicality. That was the biggest thing that stood out for me against the Portland game, is that kid is not afraid to go into any 50-50. He doesn't matter who he's up against. And I think when he's going to be dealing with a big physical presence like Musa, you're going to need somebody that's physically just thrusting themselves in there. And then I'm hoping we can build off that comfort and possession throughout the back and not give up silly plays, whereas Dallas has given up a lot of these turnovers in the defense, and I hope we can press in there. I'm going to go with Klaus as well on the score sheet, and I'm really hoping that Teutschert finds himself on the score sheet as well in this game. And
yeah,
and just for his own, like we were seeing with Klaus, I think Toichert's slowly getting into that, just the frustration, the monkey on the back, so to say. I would love to see this be a game that he can spring out of. I hope Hartl can just have a free reigning role and just be the creative player he is. And like I said, the biggest thing to me is those two center mids. I'm assuming we're just going to still roll out Ostrak and Valum, unless, who knows, maybe Edu is a little bit farther along in his fitness than we think. I don't know if I see him starting, but just dealing with the long-standing injury as well, which also I noticed a lot of the players that have been dealing with stuff like Toichert and then Leuven, they're wearing these different like black compressions under their shorts. And I don't know what the difference is from the typical compressions that we see players play. I know it's obviously getting a little bit more blood flow into the muscle, and that's the whole purpose. But I wonder what the difference between the regular compression shorts they wear and those are. But I'm hoping we, again, build that 1% better. And I really would love nothing more than to have another happy watch party so we can have another happy show like we did earlier in this week, and that's what we are looking forward to. So, again, City, this Saturday, will be heading down to Dallas to take on FC Dallas. Game time starts at 7:30, but come hang out with us at Felix's Pizza Pub a little early and get yourself ready for kickoff at 7:30. And, again, we'll be at Felix's Pizza Pub, located at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, and that will transition us into our Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions.
Before we get too deep into that St. Louis City match day preview was brought to you by STL Kolache in Sunset Hills. STL Kolache, they make breakfast better. Go in, check our friends out in the Sunset Hills location. Indulge in a breakfast kolache. Indulge in their original chicken enchilada kolache. And if you really feel like it, Eric, you could get a gooey butter cake kolache for dessert, or get like 8 of them and then hide them from your family. Eat them by yourself.
I definitely will.
Even though that's really stinky.
No, I had this discussion the other day where I realized now that I'm restricted to bathroom or closet closed door if I have snacks, because those kids hear a rapper from a mile away or whatever it may be. So any protein bar I grab or whatever it may be, that. But yeah, boy, what you want to talk about a day? You start your day off with a little STL Kolache in the morning, lunch, whatever, and then you finish off with Felix's Pizza Pub that night. Yes. And I like your play. I think you pick up extra kolaches, you go with your breakfast and your lunch, and then you get a couple desserts to treat yourself after the game. Which, speaking of, I believe they also have a mac and cheese kolache, and today is National Mac and Cheese Day. No, I heard this on the radio, and I'm curious to get your opinion. Are you a powder mac and cheese guy, or are you like a Velveeta? So are you?
I'll eat them both.
Do you have?
I would probably prefer like one made with like real cheese.
Sure,
but I'll eat it. I'll eat any of it for sure.
You don't have like a go. Do you guys carry that? And I guess your kids have probably maybe grown out of mac and cheese.
No, they still do it. Right now they've got both up there. There's the Kraft mac and cheese, and then there's also the Panera mac and cheese, which is a little bit gooier. Yeah. That's good stuff. So,
well, I'm glad neither of us have a hard stance, because I don't think we can handle any more food battles going on. Like if it was noodles or shells, I don't think we could handle adding another one into this.
That might be a good one. What's your go-to macaroni noodle? But you don't have to worry about what kind of noodles in there at STL Kolache in Sunset Hills, 1530 South Kirkwood Road, the intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson, next to Highway 44. They brought you the match day preview, and now Felix's Pizza Pub in Dogtown is going to bring you the South End submissions.
That's right.
Really exciting.
That's right. And we will kick it off with our South State supporter, that great American, Mr. Jeff Thornborough. He said, "So thankful to pick up a win, much needed for the team and the supporter morale. What a performance by Ostrak, Valum, and Orozco. Each one of them left it on the field." And then his second part is for our the prompt that you gave, and I'll make sure and touch back on everybody's prompts for their submissions. But, I saw Jeff there at the game. I didn't get to talk to him, but I saw him in his seat. And I think the reason that we totally shut him down that second half was he was wearing this muscle shirt, and he was just looking intimidating down there in the South End. I feel like that's one of the reasons that I think Portland wanted none of that. I think they just looked up.
That's American muscle is what that is.
American muscle. That's exactly right. Yep. We'll go to our man, Andy Sharoni, or my Sharoni. He said, what does a win feel like? Could you feel the excitement? Do you like City SC attacking the North End in the second half? So that has been something that they've switched up a little bit more under the Critch era as far as like what it and they attack first. So I'll say yes and no. Yes, because as a traditionalist, I don't know if Stamford Bridge has one, but like Old Trafford is notorious for attacking the Stretford end in the second half, like their supporter section. Same with like Liverpool and the Klopp. Like I feel like you almost want to like finish out the game, bring home that energy, attacking your supporter section. So I understand that maybe the traditionalist in me and like that. I don't like it because I hate, oh man, the amount of sweat that was pouring down my back, not just from the humidity that night, of having to defend a 1-goal lead, just with everything that we've experienced so far this year with City giving up goals late in games. Like the extra stress it brings me of just seeing it all unfold in front of me is I don't like that aspect of it. But yeah, I think it would probably makes more sense. What about you? Do you have a preference on either of those?
No, I don't have a preference. If I'm down at field level, I would prefer that they attack towards my end in the second half. And when I sit down at the south end with you, that's what I prefer. But yeah, I think at Stamford Bridge they attack the shed end, which is the fan end, traditionally in the second half, because the other end is like the half on the field level is for the opposing team. And I was thinking about that today while I was watching Cole Palmer highlights. Chelsea give way too many seats away to their opposing team. Like they need to put those fans up in the rafters like City does.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to see the opposing team celebrating like on the field.
Yeah, I know. I know United, like they restrict like their away fans off into a corner, so it's not the whole back end. It's just kind of like a corner over there, and I think that's because I know like the upper end, at least for like Old Trafford, just with the amount of tickets are, that's more for like I would say the out of towners. Like if myself were to go, like those would be the tickets that would be available for me. And then, you got your season ticket holders along.
When we go, we're sitting on the field level. I'm not going to Old Trafford to go sit up at the damn rafters.
You know what? I'll pay whatever if you go with me, and I would love for you to wear that bright blue hat right there, standing next to me alongside. Man.
Bring it on, you bunch of Manx.
And shortly after that game, that will be the last you will have ever heard of the Monday Morning Center back on this show, because I don't think he'd make it out of there.
Oh, there's nobody tough in Manchester. It's not like it's Birmingham.
Yeah, you do always hear that about Birmingham fans.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go to Alan Anani. He said, the best we've played in a while. Some of the best build-up from the back in the midfield. With 14 shots, we should have finished more and been more clinical in the box. I think at times we tend to be too selfish and try to finish when there is potential for a cross or an open man, especially on that breakaway that Tots had. Hartle was open on the far post and could have finished. Yeah, I think we kind of touched on that, where it's just, we're still experiencing a little bit of indecision. And I think, I guess to give Tots credit, you got a defender in a wide open space like that. It's not they're comfortable where they expect themselves to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to play devil's. I'm just going to assume that he didn't feel like he had a clear path on to Toychuk or whoever was at the back post, that he felt like he had to take that extra step. And at that point he was like, I got to put it on frame or something to that effect.
I love Alan's analysis, by the way. He's got good submissions. He brings it every week. I don't know that I necessarily agree that they're selfish. What I feel like might be happening, and this is totally speculative, but I feel like what might be happening is it seems like we've talked about before, City don't really have many players that can create their own openings to shoot the ball, right? It's a lot of build up. It's a lot of 1-2s. So a lot of this, and was it last year or was it early this year? We were talking about how many shots they get blocked, because they have to get so deep.
Yeah,
I feel like it might have been this year, but and this is a very long-winded way of me saying that I think it's a lack of confidence. I think you made the point that we're seeing a lot of indecisiveness. I think that during the Olaf era, there was a lot of indecision and, oh, no, I don't want to take the responsibility of the shot. You do it. And I think now it's kind of flipped the other way around, where they kind of say, okay, we don't have as much time to dink this ball around. I'm going to take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think more than anything, it's indecision.
And to the point that you brought up earlier in the show earlier in the week, a lot of times we're trying to force stuff, and where you're finding yourself is they're finding a lot of times when Klaus picked up the ball, like in those quick tried attempts and pass in the boxes, he had three players around him, and it's just like he's just trying to retain possession at that point, and he's not looking to, all right, I'm going to one hit and shot when he can feel three. I think it's a lot of that as well. So I think to me, it's just more of a combination on those types.
Do you know what drives me absolutely batshit are the flicks? Like and the flicks are a consequence of all the forced passes and the forced runs into places where there is no space. Now, there's definitely a time and a place for a nice dummy run and a little back heel behind the leg, but the little outside of the foot flicks, there was a chance in the first half where a pass deflected and it went up in the air, and Hartle had a chance to just kind of bring it down and recycle it. And he tried to kind of heel rainbow it to himself and run. Well, he missed the rainbow, and then Portland picked the ball up and they were on a counter. So maybe not reading the situation sometimes is a bit of a problem when trying to create a chance. Like maybe instead of forcing the issue, we recycle, we live to fight another day. Maybe that's different if you've got Kess and Timo back there who are a little more comfortable in possession.
Mm-hmm.
But no, great, good analysis by Alan for sure.
And to also finish off on when it comes to the flicks, there were a few that were made in the box that it made sense, I guess, but your runners aren't expecting that. And then they wouldn't make that run. I remember there was one instance with Klaus and Teutsch where Teutsch kind of looked like there's no way you could anticipate.
There's no way I could have got to that ball.
Where you could have had me anticipate that run. And they kind of like high-fived, like, each of us, that was on us. But I think that's where also you kind of, let's get away from, that could be the 1%. No flicks.
Yeah. Let's get that 1% better. There you go.
Next, we'll go to our man, Steven Pena. He said, City needs to go ahead and sign Orozco, or am I just being biased? So I know, like, he's shouted him out a little bit today, like, and stuff like that. So I don't know if they know each other, they're boys, or anything like that. But, yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. That's the tough choice right now is if you give a spot to somebody who could be a last spot is, who's a go-to as far as, a lot of people are really high, us included, on Joyner. A lot of people are really high on Orozco, us included. Like it's a tough decision that they're kind of in right now, and who knows what else could be coming in tomorrow as well. So I think I tell you this much: between either of those two, I would be happy. Like I would be, I would be make peace with it. I wouldn't feel like, I can't believe you did that or whatever.
Yep.
Next, we'll go to the St. Louis City SC fan. They said, winning is fun. If Critch puts together a decent run of form to the end of the season, similar to Hack like last year, would you consider him as a serious candidate for head coach? Well,
I mean, I will consider anybody a serious candidate for the head coach that has the hearts and minds of the players and can also be able to consistently deliver results. But let's be realistic again. He's 7 games into this. I think we were fielding some similar questions like this after the San Jose game. And we've been dealt with a dose of reality that, it's hard to win with a limited side. So I think I will still stick by what I thought when they first got him and when they first got that win. If you can consistently deliver results for till the end of this year, and City don't feel like going through this exhaustive search for a new coach that's going to flip the system and flip the roster, absolutely give Critch another year. I was in favor of giving Hack a year to try to do that if he had wanted to do it, and they went a different direction. So, yeah, I mean, if you can string together, 7 or 8 wins in the last 12 games, you got to give him a look.
Yeah, and I think the other thing you got to realize also right now is anybody who's in, they wouldn't have put him in charge if they didn't feel like he was going to be considered. It's so. Yeah, you put results together with the people that you have, or maybe you can get some shining lights out there, and the uppers are looking at that, thinking like, "Hey, we can really build off of this with his system and everything going forward." I know he likes to play the style that they say they want to have emulated on the field. So, I think it just all comes down to a long run of results, not just a short window of, and again, we touched on this in the last win, which again feels like forever ago. Like we're also experiencing a little bit of that, high. Like we did it. Like, and it's like, yeah, but we've also got one win in the past, 8, something like that. Like let's just build off of this and be happy with this and see where it goes. But to their point, if he gets the results and he really justifies like hey, we can build off of this with Critch. Yeah, I think he's into consideration with that. Like you said, I don't think we.
So let's take 5 minutes and actually look at the remainder of the schedule. I don't know how much people love to hear that, but I just want to do that for the sake of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So at Dallas, home against Minnesota, home against Nashville, at Chicago, at Vancouver, home against Houston, home against Dallas, at Montreal, at San Jose, home against LAFC, at Austin, and home against Real Salt Lake. I mean, that's a tough run. So
yeah,
Dallas is winnable. Dallas, Minnesota's on fire right now.
Minnesota, that's a rough one.
Nashville is supporter shield.
Yeah, Nashville's on fire too.
Chicago, Berhalter's got Chicago playing really well.
He does.
Vancouver is one of the better teams in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Houston at home, that's a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas at home, that's a winnable game.
Montreal
away should be a winnable game, but it's on the road. San Jose, that's going to be a tough one. LAFC, Austin. So, I mean, out of the last 12, I'd say, okay, preface this by if they're playing well, they can be in a game with everybody. But I look at the last 12 games and I see 5 of those games as they should win.
I had like 5 or 6 that they should be. We feel good going into those games.
Yeah,
the biggest thing,
those 5.
The biggest thing I think that we've learned with City this year is who knows what that roster is going to look like in those games going forward.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if you end up, what if you end up in September with a healthy Timo and a healthy Durkin and a healthy Kess and a healthy Leuven? Who knows? We're still like I still maintain, and this is one of the season injustices right now. I still maintain that the team that they put out there, Critch's first game against San Jose, was the best possible roster that they could have currently composed with all the players under their umbrella. If you could run that team out there, that 5 games might turn into 6 or 7 games, and then you're talking about possibly favorably going into next season. But to my opinion, it's way too early to even consider what Critch's future is. I know they don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what their plan is? Neither of us are privy to what their actual long-term plan is.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, who knows what the other teams are going to look like as well when those seasons, if that comes in. So, yeah. Yep. Next, we'll go to Chris Sciutto. I don't know why I made it sound real fancy in there. So hopefully I got it even.
Well, he said that it's pronounced like prosciutto.
Oh, okay. So I was at least in the ballpark, and I'm glad I did the Italian little hand gesture there as well.
Yeah.
So he's got a 2-parter here. One's for the prompt and one's for just the submission. He said, seats in the South End Sunday inspired an SES experience with a trip to Felix's pregame, which I talked to him about. It was great meeting him as well, and he went with the Wings, the Dogtown, and I'm trying to think of the other one that he went with, but all great choices on there. He said it did not disappoint for the win for the game. 91 impressed. Great to see 17 get rewarded. 7 was able to harness his franticness to set up the first goal. 10's return brings good vibes. Nothing beats a W. I think you nailed it with all of those on there. I think it was
nailed it.
I think the biggest thing that I almost really stood out to me in there was 7. Ostrak was able to handle his franticness, because we've talked on this a couple times before with Ostrak. It's like that dude has one gear, and it is go. And it was nice to at least see with his go, he was able to maintain that possession, because where I think he loses it sometimes is that turn and go and just let's go is where he loses possession. And then in his position, that requires a counter, leads into a counter against us. And that's where we get exposed a lot of the time.
Yep.
So, I think you nailed it, man. And I'll read your second part later on when we get to it. Next, we'll go to that guy, Gorski. Zach Gorski said, hoping to make it Saturday. It's still up in the air for us. All that talk, and it's still up in the air for him. He said, I don't know if you guys watched the post-game presser or not, but I'm curious, any idea why Berkey seems so agitated? Nice win and definitely the best half the team has played all year. But let's make sure Hack and City 2 get some love. Those boys are killing it. Cadlick chimed in and said, I didn't see it, but if I had to guess, he was agitated thinking his favorite SES host, DH, wasn't going to be recording about this win. And Gorski said, I bet you're right. DH is barely even part-time at this point. So it sounds like, according to these guys, the Monday morning center back is the people's favorite, and then DH is the player's favorite on there.
The player's favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good call. I don't know. I don't know. Was Berkey agitated? I don't know.
So to me, it just seemed like the same Berkey's always kind of been. He always just seems like he's just kind of to the point. I think that's a lot of I think that's a lot of the European press training that they get, where it's not as personable. I think they really try and get those guys, just get an answer and kind of keep it moving. So because over there it's a lot more like you got to watch what you say because anything will get manipulated in the headlines and all that. So I think that's just more his personality. And then to be, some of the questions that I, are always on, in these press conferences are kind of like,
oh, they're so dumb.
They're just kind of like, I think they're meant to be like softballs, and they're just kind of like, I don't know what. I think he even said that when it came to like the Leuven question, he was like, I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, he's our, he's one of our best players.
I think there's also something lost in English not being necessarily your first language, even though you're very, very comfortable in it. I think there's something to be said about losing the nuance of language. But
yeah, I guess for me personally, I didn't look into it as much, just from what I've experienced.
DH would be really upset about not being the people's podcaster. I feel like that one will really bother him, especially because he hates when I have any success, and I hate when he does also. I wish nothing but bad things on him, but it is what it is. That's what friends do.
Well, I hate both of you because you got the people's favorite, you got the player's favorite, and I guess I'm just my mom's favorite, which who knows because she loves both. She loves both of you guys just as much as well. So
you are the ladies' favorite,
huh?
You're the favorite of the You're the ladies' favorite.
Not even the ladies that are upstairs right now. They got their Uncle Dave. They probably, it's their brother and then their uncle. So who knows? I'm just, you know what, Mom, I love you. All right. So, but as he chimed in, we'll go to our man Ryan Cadlick for some Cadlick's combat. He said, talking about a win, what a great feeling, because that hasn't happened much this year. One thing from last week, real quick. I'm very committed to this bit. You guys keep putting them on the pod, so I keep posting them. Have only had one participant go twice so far out of all of these, and that was Wendy from weeks 1 and 2. I should have made a spreadsheet of everyone I've picked, but I'm so far down the rabbit hole now to do that. If I continue next year, I'll do that, and we'll start from scratch. Enough about that, though. Let's go on to the important stuff. Hopefully our ChatGPT guru is on the mic this week for 3 exciting battles.
He's not.
He is unfortunately not. 3 points.
That fight card is getting loaded.
So what is
loaded?
Isn't like the pay-per-view card like 5 fights?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe by the time
we're rapidly approaching pay-per-view.
I think we're getting into pay-per-view numbers, which we might have to pull a FIFA World Cup and put it on DAZN when we read those out. Or
put it on
DAZN.
Like yeah, they'll probably broadcast it.
3 points, 3 battles. It only makes sense. Inspector Gadget versus Gru, Dewey versus Doctor Who, Morton Salt Girl versus the Kool-Aid Man. Those are all great.
There was a comment in Discord on Cadlick's combat, and it was from Fat Lord Colton, and in reference to the Kool-Aid Man, he said, "I'm thinking the Kool-Aid Man has to be made of tempered glass or bulletproof glass, and that's why he never shatters busting through walls." So that's a very bold assumption. We will certainly factor that into the grudge match with the Morton Salt Girl.
I tell you who needs to factor that into it is the Morton Salt Girl. She needs to know that going into this stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
To celebrate the 3 points, next week we'll do the first ever trios battle. Here's the list of teams. Interesting. So we've got almost like some tag team stuff going on here. So we'll have Yakko, Wacko, and Dot from the Animaniacs, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls, Ed, and Eddie from Ed, and Eddie, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore from Alvin and the Chipmunks, Peach, Daisy, and Rosalina, the Mario Princesses, Meatwad, Frylock, and Master Shake from Aquatine Hunger Force.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
Pfeiffer, Fiddler, and Practical, the three pigs. And then Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona from Shrek. That is going to be.
That's the 8 seed?
No, I don't. They don't have the seedings yet. So that's just.
Okay.
Next,
I got
that's
you.
next week's battle. But I
that's
think,
next week? Oh, I want that to be this week. Damn it.
I think we found our main card, though. I think that's. That's got to be the main card right there.
Yeah.
This week's battle is all about the mascots named after food items. 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, 4v5. Random encounter fighters can use whatever they'd logically be carrying on them. So we'll have, and I'm going to have to pull these up again. So we've got Dylan T. Pickle from the Portland Pickles, Cilantro Gomez from Fresno Tacos, Kevin Bacon from Macon Bacon, Barley the Hop from the Hillsboro Hops, Otto the Orange from Syracuse Orange, Colonel the Cobb from Cordelia College Cobbers, Al the Almond from Modesto's Nuts, and Split from the Savannah Bananas. So let's see. We've got Dylan T. Pickle. This is going to be...
Who's Dylan T. Pickle facing?
Dylan T. Pickle is going to be taking on Split from the Savannah Bananas.
Interesting. Dylan T. Pickle does not look very imposing.
Yeah.
He got a big old jaw, too.
that to me is right there is what's gonna stand out the most is that jaw. I don't know if that jaw can take anything as far as combat goes.
Let's see what Split he's got going on here. Ooh, Split looks vicious.
Yeah, I'm going Split.
Yeah, I'll go with Split also.
So an 8 seed already upsetting the 1 seed early into this.
And he's got like an 8-pack. Oh man, it's all Split is ripped. Absolutely.
So next we'll have Al the Almond, who does not look imposing. If I'm seeing the right guy, yeah, he's got glasses.
Al the Almond. He's new.
He's got glasses. Those things are getting. If he struggles with vision, just seeing his.
See, I found one that he doesn't have glasses.
The one that I have, and it says now Cilantro Gomez, is that a taco? That's a big cheek that he has exposed over there.
So,
that's a big.
Let's see if I can find Cilantro Gomez.
It's just a big old taco.
This is so ridiculous.
Okay, so yeah, I've looked up a second picture of Al the Almond, and he looks a little bit more menacing, I would say, than
Cilantro. Oh, all right. I'll go with Al the Almond.
All right, Al the Almond. Oh man! So next we've got Kevin Bacon from Macon Bacon taking on Colonel the Cobb.
not Kevin Bacon, the actor.
Not the actor. So we've got just a good strip of bacon in a jersey, a baseball jersey. Basically,
I see him. He looks very edible.
He does look very edible. Boy, some bacon.
Who's the other one?
Colonel the Cobb from Cordelia College Cobbers. I'm having to leave all these tabs open too because I'm going to have to. Colonel de Cobb. The problem is too is
wow. Oh, he looks like a monster. Oh yeah, Colonel Cobb. Oh yeah, he wins this one.
Oh,
that's a bad dude.
He's vicious looking.
Yeah, that's a bad dude. I got pictures of him dabbing. Oh yeah, Colonel Cobb.
Yeah, that's Colonel Cobb's taking that one for sure. He looks vicious. So now in our last first round matchup, we've got Barley the Hop from Hillsboro Hops taking on Otto the Orange from Syracuse.
I mean, oranges are just much bigger than hops. I'm going with the orange.
Yeah, and the hop, he looks a little bit too kid friendly, we'll say.
He's too bitter.
So Otto the Orange moves on. So next we've got Split in our next round matchup, taking on Colonel the Cobb.
Oh, it's Colonel. It's Colonel the Cobb, and I wish that was the finals matchup, but it's not. A Split. I'm sorry, buddy, but Colonel the Cobb, he's got you. He's got you everywhere.
And then Al the Almond taking on Otto the Orange.
And it doesn't even matter. They're both weak, and Colonel Cobb beats one. So pick whichever one you want to get destroyed by Colonel Cobb.
I think there's just something about Al the Almond just looks like there's just a dark side behind that.
Something not right. Something not right with him.
There's no real smiling from him. It's just like a weird face that I feel like
might be a serial killer.
Yeah. So fighting on the pay-per-view card, we will have Colonel the Cobb taking on Al the Almond. So some great matchups coming once we get, and then next week, boy, triple header going on, like tag team. What? That's not a tag team. What are they? What is it? What is a 3-way?
I don't know. It's just 3-on-3.
3-on-3. We'll have a 3-on-3 tournament. This isn't the old Keishi days. This is the SES Cadlet Combat days. So that's our Cadlet Combat for the week. Can't wait to hopefully get the ChatGPT readings for those. I got one more on my end, and it comes from our buddies over at the No Goal Patrol. It said, SES, with the watch party coming up this weekend, what do you guys plan on getting to eat? What are your favorites? And what do the wives like? So, man, I want to try and I typically go Dogtown and Thai wings. I think I'm still sticking with the Thai chili wings. Those are just phenomenal. And I'm more always going to be like a sweet spicy over just a straight up buffalo. My wife, on the other hand, is a straight up buffalo, and that's the pizza she gets as well as their buffalo chicken. But I also like their barbecue chicken. But I feel like I'm gonna try and venture out and go a little bit new this week. So I'll have to have a peek at the menu prior to going out there, so I have my order already. But it's going to involve wings. It's going to involve pizza, and I'm hoping I don't back out and just go with my traditional Dogtown. But likely it would. What I like is the Dogtown. It's basically like almost like a meat lover's pizza, the Thai chili wings, and then obviously some cold beer on tap. And the wife, she enjoys the buffalo wings, so typically we'll go at 6 and 6 on the wings, and then she likes, like I said, that buffalo chicken pizza by them, that jalapeno ranch drizzle on the top with buffalo sauce as the sauce, and then some big. That's the thing I love about pizza. Felix's is their toppings. They don't give you like tiny little. It takes up the entire pizza as their toppings. So big chunks of chicken on there. What's your? Or do you know what you're planning on getting? Are you going to switch it up? What's your favorites?
No, I don't usually switch it up, so I'll likely go with Dogtown and the regular like buffalo wings. But I will check and see what the slice of the week is.
Oh yes, that's a big factor as well.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. It doesn't say, they don't have it online what the slice of the week is, but I'll probably go with that. Yeah, man. You can't go wrong. That's the best part about it. I'm trying to think of what it was that Katie usually goes with.
I will also.
I know she really liked she really liked the Thai chili wings.
Yes, those are phenomenal. I will also give a little tip as well. Obviously, get the side of jalapeno ranch. I think I've made that pretty clear. But I will suggest that with the food. Join us a little bit earlier for that fact, just because if it gets, a lot of people in there, it may take a little bit more time. I know Felix has handled it so great the past times that we've been there, is still getting food out and everything. But I would say just if you are going hungry, maybe get there a little bit earlier prior to kickoff so you make sure you get your food and everything into you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go wrong.
No matter what you get. That's the great part about Felix's. So that's what I have on my end, other than the prompts that other people have answered in. So I'll send it over to you for Reddit and Discord.
Okay, we'll move to Reddit. Really light Reddit day, but They Call Me Sly Fox did weigh in on Reddit, so that's exciting to get one of the goats back.
Yeah.
So the prompt that Erik was alluding to was that if you could be in any movie, what would it be? And Sly Fox wanted some clarification, but every once in a while we get one of these where you just have to go with it, baby. Like you just have to see the prompt and answer the prompt and assume what you want to assume.
Yeah.
But he was asking, I say he, the Sly Fox was asking if they got to be the main character or just in the universe, timeline, and location of the film. The events play out just as they do in the film, or do I have the ability to change them? I would say that the intention of this would be that you are in the movie as it exists. Like you don't get to alter it. Like if you want to be in that movie, you have to be that character and you experience everything and do everything that character did in that movie as part of that storyline.
Right. So you're not saying you're not saying like you're just the actor. You're saying you're the character.
Yeah, you're the character. You're the character, and you are bound by the plot of that movie, and that's what happens to you. So, Sly Fox, I always thought it would be awesome to be in the Star Wars universe, but I know I'd end up an Alderaanian and turn to dust by the Empire. Man, that was dark.
Yeah, that took a twist.
And then shooting from the hip, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but I wonder which character in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because you don't want to be one of those kids, except for Charlie, because all the rest of the kids end up just horribly disfigured or injured. Yeah. You don't want to be in Oompa Loompa because you don't want to be in forced labor.
Wonka sounds like he had a terrible past, so he doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, Willy would be an interesting one.
I tell you who you'd want to be is you just want to be the grandpa. You sit on your bed, you never leave.
Grandpa Joe?
And then all of a sudden,
Grandpa Joe,
and you find your legs, and then you're sitting there, eating everything that Charlie's doing.
Have you ever seen any of those like fan theories about like Grandpa Joe and how horrible the person he actually was, and how it's really good what people will do with time and nothing better to do. Like
insane. It's insane. Yeah. Some of the pages and stuff that you see. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to answer the prompt for the other ones before I move on to Discord? Did you want to read the ones that had because then we have a couple on.
So Chris Shudo, he came in with being on the set of the Blues Brothers would have been life altering. The comedians Belushi and Aykroyd, the musicians Aretha Cab Calloway and Ray Charles, and the times, the late 70s. The residuals from Avatar would be nice, yeah. But figured it all out, Earth of Star Trek would be top. So it sounds almost like if he was in the movie, like sort of like the prompt was going, sounds like the Star Trek movies is where he's maybe leaning towards. So not a bad one. Our man Jeff Thornborough, the South State supporter, said, movie-wise, I'd have to go with my favorite of all time, Dazed and Confused. Mrs. South State would choose You Got Mail or Sweet Home Alabama. So those are...
Dude, I was thinking Dazed and Confused because that movie was just... If you were in that movie, you'd just be in like an endless like party. But like it really like... young, like you're a senior in high school in an endless party.
Yeah,
that's a strong answer right there, man.
He only brings heat.
I never thought about it from that angle,
Yeah, this one it's. I feel like every movie you pick, or at least the ones that like have been popping into my head, it's like that'd be great, but it's like but you also there's also always like which makes those movies interesting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
But, yeah, do you want to go Discord and then we'll maybe give our answers?
Yeah, let's go Discord first. So, Fetlord Colton said, I mean, do you have to ask? And then posted a Star Wars GIF. That was point taken, Colton. Thank you. Yeah. Joe M said Hook, which I thought was really interesting. And then the question was, as a pirate or as a lost boy? And Joe responded, a pirate living in the trees with a bunch of unruly kids for eternity as an adult sounds like a nightmare. Not going to lie, that Food 5 spread was bangerang, though. I love the answer.
Yes, great.
And then KVK, then in typical investigative journalist and just total deep thinker fashion, are we living within the world of the movie or getting to be an extra on set? If I'm an extra, being one of the kids hanging out in the Foot Clan's lair in the first TMNT movie would have been awesome. Which is great because it's just a big, again, it's another big party, skateboarding and video games and he said skateboard ramps, video games, poker, would have been a really fun day filming. If I'm living in the world, a Lost Boy and Hook would be pretty amazing, more so than a pirate, because no one is getting shot in a game of baseball with the Lost Boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jay Clem said he was torn between Back to the Future and Star Wars. Back to the Future.
That's a good shout.
And then CBP said Deadpool 2 because Pete. And I've never seen Deadpool 2, so that reference is completely lost on me. So
yeah, I've only seen clips of it. I still haven't
either that. I'll just have to see Deadpool 1 and 2, starring the delectable, the wonderful Ryan Reynolds. So do you have yours?
So this was tough because I felt like every movie, like obviously, I think I'm like Fet Lord, where it's like, do you even have to ask? Where it'd be like Lord of the Rings, but then it's like, yeah, but that would be a rough time to live in. You know, you're not exactly like, you're in medieval times basically, and then you're constantly under the worry of a evil, you know, sorcerer basically coming back and bringing his minions. So that one's where it's tough. The one I was almost thinking was like maybe the Harry Potters, like being a wizard, just flying around on a broom all the time, the spread that they have there. But then like I said, there's also the thought of like a Dark Lord constantly coming to just destroy you.
Yeah.
So it's like I keep getting these like thoughts in my head, and then it's like, yeah. Do you have one off the top of yours, or like?
So I was thinking, and I would pick a specific character. I was thinking Legolas, because Legolas is like the ultimate Lord of the Rings badass, and he's immortal unless he actually gets physically killed. But if you're an elf and you are immortal, then you basically live to see everything around you die. And that's the elf's curse, right?
Unless you go to the Undying Lands.
Yeah, but then what do you do? I mean, part of the wonder, the part of the just the mystery and the sanctity and the sacredness of life is that it's finite, right? And that everything that you do is part of your timeline, and that there's an end to it, and you only have so much time, so you have to actually appreciate it. If you're immortal, basically nothing you do really matters, because you're just going to continue to live and live and live. So I think I would avoid that one. Man, this is really tough, and I should have given this more thought. I like Jeff's Dazed and Confused, just because that's like, you know, in just a continuous like loop of a giant party. But if we're talking about like, what movie character would I want to be, like in the spirit of life being finite? I have a weird thought that I might want to be in Scarface.
So some like
that dude,
gangster movies or like Montana, spy movies popped into my head as well. Yeah, like
Tony Montana lived more in that, whatever that one, like however length period of time, you know, a couple years after he took over that cartel, he lived more and experienced more. Now, ultimately, he got bogged down in being too greedy and then was disillusioned by his wealth and what the wealth turned him into. But like, man, like just access to unlimited excess, right? Money and power and consumables and whatever. I don't know. That's a slippery slope though, because I also don't want to become like a kilo a day coke food. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a wrong answer here, but I also feel like it's tough to really come up with a good answer.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if we go with my favorite movie series in Lord of the Rings, I'd probably go maybe Aragorn, because you go from nothing, you live this past, you're just this badass, but there is still that reality of, you know, death, just from longevity as well. So he still appreciates life. If I'm gonna go Harry Potter, as far as that thought process, just put me as one of like the non-kids that nobody's coming after, that's like still on the Quidditch team. So I'm at least on the sports, but I just chill in the background and just get to experience all the good parts of that. And then the last one that just popped into my head, you ever seen the movie Goal?
No.
So it's like I guess all of our dreams is, it's just this this kid who's grown up in a poor area, and he's a soccer star and stuff, or he plays soccer and stuff. And one day, an ex-scout from Newcastle just happens to be walking by his Sunday pickup league.
Oh, it just happens to be there.
And then all of a sudden he calls up Newcastle's scouts and he's like, I got this kid, and he's everything. Next thing you know, the kid's flying out to Newcastle for a trial. He makes the team and he goes on to live the glory days. So just a rags to just like playing in our Thursday night league, and somebody comes out and all of a sudden it's just, you got to see this kid. And the next thing I know, I'm playing in the Premier League. So like, that'd be a pretty sweet,
that's a good one.
That's Cinderella story right there to live out.
That's a good one. I do have one that again, these are popping into our heads as we're thinking about them.
Yep.
But if I could be Frank the Tank in Old School, that's what it would be. In the spirit of like just a continuous, like laid back sort of like just have a good time sort of life. Like you're a middle-aged man in a frat, and that's like your career now, and that's like your life. Frank the Tank, man. We're going streaking through the quad.
That's a good shout. That's a great shout. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely one of those questions where I'll go upstairs and think of about 10 more scenarios that it's like I didn't even think of that, or one of those that happens to me every week when we do the show.
How about what movies you don't want to be in? And I'll throw one right off the bat. I don't want to be in Jaws.
Don't put me in any of those Jason movies, or any of those.
That seems like it's much easier to pick the ones that you don't want to be. Don't put me in Casino. Don't put me in Goodfellas.
Yeah, because the thing with like Jason movies and stuff, those are happening just in regular neighborhoods like this, and it's just like,
don't put me in a Tarantino movie because everybody dies.
Everybody dies. Yeah. Same with like, it's not a movie, but Game of Thrones, because you may feel riding high because you're the main character and you're still getting killed off.
Don't put me in Game of Thrones. Oh no, don't put me in Game of Thrones at all. I don't want to die from Dragonfire.
I also do love your like almost Scarface shout out, because though like I was thinking about like almost like the Oceans series, where it's like, I could just be like a dude part of a team that we just go rob a casino and we dress super cool the whole time.
Oh my God.
It's just like I have one job that I have to do, and then all of a sudden we're rolling out with money from there. Like something.
I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about it from that perspective either. That would be to be doing like a jewel thief, like a world-class jewel thief.
Or even like James Bond, but that just sounds like too much work. It's a lot of running and a lot of avoiding things, and like
that might be it though. James Bond might be it.
That's a top character to just be able to say that you're James Bond.
That's a really good one. John Wick.
John Wick.
Really good one.
Yes, that's a great shout as well. Again,
I feel like we're already in the Matrix, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And depending on who you talk to, they believe we're in the Matrix
all night.
That's what I'm saying. That's
what's going to do this all night.
You're hearing the beginning of the process of what happens when I head up those stairs right now. Is just like, oh yeah, that would have been cool.
I feel like I see the gears grinding.
The other sad thing is that, like, while we were talking, I was just sitting there almost sadly running through a lot of Disney movies, like thinking about like what are the kids watching that I think that would be fun to just be there and like live in that land. And it's a Disney movie, so it's going to have a happy ending. Like, as long as I'm not choosing,
at least at the ending, it would be happy.
As long as I'm not choosing most of the certain characters, I should be good.
Yeah, you should be all right.
There we go.
Good stuff. Good stuff from the audience as always. The Felix's Pizza Pub South End.
Yes, as always. It's our favorite time of the week each week, and we really do appreciate everybody who listens and participates, and we really appreciate Felix's Pizza Pub for allowing us to host another watch party. Again, we'll be there this Saturday as City will take on FC Dallas. We will be at Felix's Pizza Pub at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, so we hope to see you there. Make sure you check out all our under sponsors that we really appreciate being a part of this show. We'll start out with a ton of sponsors, Ready to Live Wellness. Make sure you go check out all those deals we read about, as well as go check out their location at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard. Make sure you go get some fresh swag customized towards yourself at Warrior Logo Wear at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois. We kicked off this episode with our STL Kolache preview. Like we said, start that Saturday morning with some STL Kolaches at Sunset Hills at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis. And as well, we ended our last episode with that Elite News and Notes brought to you by Elite FT at 101 The Game Drive and EliteFT.com. Keep up with all our socials on Instagram. We're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is _SES_podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page and YouTube. That way you keep with all things coming at you, South End Supporters. So, for myself, Erik Cole, for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, you've been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week. And until then, let's go City.